Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports here on Newsbreak. I am Chase Sr. And the NFL Draft, the much anticipated draft, coming up in just a couple of days. And as of right now, the Giants are slated to pick number 11 in the first round. But could they be open to trading back in the first round if they get a premium asset back? Possibly. According to Ian Rapoport of NFL Network, the Giants are open to trading down in the first round. And Ian Rapoport hit up some NFL Network researchers and asked, has Dave Gettleman, in his time as a general manager, ever traded down in any draft? They couldn't find one instance in which Dave Gettleman traded back. So it would be a very shocking and rare move for Gettleman to do so. Giants fans, we'll see if Gettleman decides to pull the trigger. What would you do if you were in his shoes? Should the Giants trade down? Get into the comments and let me know. Type Y for yes and type N for no. I put together this list of 5 prospects who could be available on the board when the Giants pick later in the first round if they do decide to trade back. Jaelen Phillips, defensive end out of Miami. Elijah Moore, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. Kadarius Toney, wide receiver out of Florida. Kwity Paye, defensive end out of Michigan. And Tevin Jenkins, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma State. All of those are positions of need for the Giants going into draft day. Let's start off with Jaelen Phillips. So, very intriguing, interesting, and curious prospect here because he medically retired after 2 injury-plagued seasons at UCLA. But we're talking about a smooth, agile athlete who, when you see him on the football field, moves really, really well. Why is that? He's twitchy and quick, and he can really beat you on his first step. But my big question when it comes to Jaelen Phillips, and if Gettleman wants to pull the trigger on this prospect, what's the medical situation, and how seriously does this dude take football? Because he retired after a couple of injury-plagued seasons, but he was also going to pursue music and rap, and I don't have any issue with anybody having outside interests other than playing football, but hey, this is the big boy league, okay? You can't mess around when you're talking about NFL draft prospects, especially a first-round pick that you have a lot invested in. Let's transition to Elijah Moore now, wide receiver out of Ole Miss, really explosive athlete. Yeah, he might be only 5'9", 178 pounds, but he plays bigger than that, has some physicality to his game, and some great hands. 1 drop in 101 targets last year for Ole Miss, and he took down A.J. Brown's record for the most receptions in a single season. Kadarius Toney out of Florida, quick twitch athlete. He can really line up all across the field, outside, inside in the slot. You get him quick bubble screens. He'll be able to make big plays happen. And coaches who have coached him rave about his football IQ. They say he's a very smart young player. And what I do like about him also, he has some solid size to him as well. Kwity Paye, only 11.5 career sacks, so the sack production numbers don't jump off the page at you, but his strength and his physicality sure do. For me, he reminds me a lot of Brandon Graham, and that's not because Kwity Paye and Brandon Graham both went to Michigan. Kwity Paye, like Brandon Graham, not a flashy athlete, not a guy who's a physical specimen like a Jadeveon Clowney, but they are both brute strong, and they can beat you with a variety but limited amount of moves. Really, for them, it comes down to technique and strength. Kwity Paye and Brandon Graham, similar prospects in that regard, in my opinion. Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State, one of the best offensive tackle prospects in this draft. He opted out after only 7 games in 2020 because of COVID. This is a really powerful offensive line prospect who at 320 pounds is massive. He also is a really good athlete who can swing out in space. If there's one concern for Tevin Jenkins, and we see this a lot with offensive lineman prospects, especially at the tackle spot, making the transition from the college game to the pros, he has short arms, and sometimes that can be exposed by strong defensive linemen who are also smart because they just wipe down that arm and they're able to get past that offensive tackle. So those are 5 prospects who could be available for the Giants if they trade back in the first round. Speak up and get creative with this one. Who is your dream trade down target? Comment below. I'm going to check them to see who you come up with.